What's up, guys? Let's go over the best build for Demon Hunter in Season 27 for Diablo 3. Now, just as a heads up, this is going to be a Impale build that's brand new because now we can actually strafe while using Impale without even having to cast it. With the brand new Sanctified powers from Season 27, we can now make it so strafe now casts the last non-channel hatred spending ability cast. In our case, it's going to be Impale. Now, there's another cool build with this season using multi-shot, and I'll pin it down below in case any of you guys do want to check it out. It's actually going to be one of the best starter builds for Demon Hunter because you get the unhollowed essence for free, whereas this build you're gonna have to get all the pieces of gear, so it's a more of a transition into this build as one of the best builds. Now there's also two best builds for Demon Hunter. It's going to be Cluster Arrow as well as the Strafe Impale. They play completely different. I'll be dropping guides on both, but we're going to be focusing in on this one as they are both arguably the best builds. There's actually two tied for Demon Hunter this season. So starting right off, of course we're going to want that Sanctified power. It doesn't matter where you roll it. I would recommend checking out rolling it on the quiver, as the quiver is one of the most important things in this build to roll perfectly. It's just a nightmare to get all of these stats perfect. So starting right off, let's go over how it plays. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to use Impale. We're going to be using Chemical Burn. The Fire rune is good for doing higher GR pushes, while the Cold rune is going to be good for speed, like up to 110s. You could do them super fast with this build. We're just shredding 100s in the gameplay in the background here. The Cold rune is going to be better though for speeding. Fire is good for push. So with the rune here on Strafe, which we're going to be using after we just throw the Impale once, we can actually run Drifting Shadows for speed or Rocket Storm if you're looking to push. We're not actually getting damage from the Rocket Storm. It just basically has a faster way to actually get more attacks in. And then we have Shadow Power. It doesn't matter the rune that you select because you get all of them with the bonus of the Shadows 4-piece set. Now in terms of the next skill, it's kind of optional. You can play a few different things. You can run Companion Boar for survivability, Wolf for damage, or if you want to, you can run Smokescreen, you can run Lingering Fog, or you can run Displacement. Those are all excellent options. You can also run Tumble. It's kind of up to you on this skill. Run whatever you want. Then we've got Vengeance with Dark Heart. Pretty much every Demon Hunter best build will be running Vengeance. No surprise here. You can run Seath if you're doing speeds, but for the most part, those are the two only options here. Now, for the primary, because we're running Focus and Restraint to activate them, we're going to be running Bolas with Freezing Strike. Now, it's up to you what you really want to run. I will argue Bolas with Freezing Strike are going to be the best. The reason why is it shoots out 3. To proc your Focus and Restraint abilities, you do need to actually tag the target. It has the highest chance at actually hitting a target, but feel free to play whatever that you want for the most part. I will argue though Bolas are definitely going to be the best. It just makes it so there's a little bit less aiming required to activate. And then in terms of the passives, we got Coal of the Week, so we're going to do more damage. We got Thrill of the Hunt to slow down our target so we can activate our other stuff that's going to do more damage. And then we've got Ambush, so more damage because this build hits very hard. And then we've got Steady Aim. This is going to also increase our damage, but you can run basically whatever you want on this last run. If you want to, you can run Tactical Advantage with the Smokescreen, Lingering Fog, or you can run the one where it doesn't cost any resource. It's kind of up to you on this last one. Feel free to play around with what you want. Now, inside the Kanai's Cube, we've got Dawn, which is pretty much in every Demon Hunter build. We've got Mantle of Channeling, so we can actually have a little bit more defensive stats as well as extra damage. And then we got the Royal Ring of Grandeur here. This is going to make it so we need one less part for our set. And then in terms of what we're running in terms of gear. So, obviously, it's the Shadow set, so we need to run all 6 pieces, but we only need 5 because we have the Royal Ring of Grandeur inside. And we're looking for, in terms of our pieces of gear, we need area damage, crit hit chance, crit hit damage. The crit chance, crit damage are going to be the most important things. Area damage, you can try to roll for that. The thing with this build, though, is area damage is actually pretty good. You can shred most things anyways, but if you do play in a group, area damage on this build is really good, especially if you're partnered up with any Witch Doctor or the brand new Barbarian Whirlwind Pull where it sucks everyone into just one giant ball. Area damage is so good because this build hits really hard. You just only get to hit 3 targets, like per attack, if that makes sense, because we're using, of course, the Holy Point Shot. So with this, you don't really need that much cooldown reduction. You just need to unlock 1 or 2 pieces of gear, depending on, you know, what the cooldown reduction roll is. But crit chance, crit damage, area damage, cooldown reduction on maybe like 1 to 2 pieces of gear is okay as well. If you want to, you can throw a diamond in your helmet to match that cooldown. If you just don't want to roll it on pieces of gear, that's actually an option as well, which is pretty cool. But you can throw a topaz in your helmet for extra resource cost reduction. But nothing too important other than you want to get that impale damage and crit chance on the helm. You also want to get the impale damage on your boots as well. And then you could also, if you want to run Guardians, but if we're running Focus and Restraint, we're probably going to wanting to run the Wraps of Clarity, so we have more damage reduction. If you want to, and you do want to drop the Focus and Restraint, you can run the Traveler's Pledge. You can also run the Elusive Ring. Those are all options as well if you're looking for more survivability. You can also run Convention of Elements for more damage, but you're going to have to wait for that perfect window. It's kind of up to you. Scorched Necklace, though, is going to be our choice in terms of the amulet. Since running Fire, we're going to want that fire damage. But if you're running the cold build just for like speeds, you could still go up to like 110 real easy with this build, even on cold. Obviously, I roll cold on it instead of that. Doesn't really matter. Same thing for the bracers. If you're running the cold build for speeds, you can get cold, but more likely you're just going to be wanting to run fire if you want to push. If you're doing speeds, definitely check out the Unhallowed Essence build, as you can get like 1,000 Paragons day one real easy. That build with the multi-shot cleans up stuff super fast. But yeah, Focus and Restraint. In terms of the gems, we're running Tegut because we're going to be strafing, and then we're going to be running the Bane of the Trapped and the Zaystone's Vengeance. This is pretty much on like most builds this season. It's going to be like all of those. Now on the quiver, ideally, if you want to, you don't have to run the Sanctified Angelic Power. Remember, you can only choose one of them. You don't have to get it in your weapon. I actually recommend, if you want to, just keep on doing Hope of Cain, because your chances of getting like the dagger and getting it ancient are actually relatively high. It's not in particular with just like daggers have a higher chance for ancient. It's just the chances of it being a Carly's point is relatively high. So I'd recommend just Hope of Cain till you get the ancient one, and then use the Angelic Power, the Sanctified one, on your quiver. The reason why is the quiver is like a nightmare to roll to get perfect. You need the correct element damage. You need, of course, your attack speed and crit hit chance to all be good, and then you want Impale. Not the easiest thing to get all those stats to roll like good, so that's why I recommend to actually use the Sanctified Power on your quiver, because remember, you can only have one Sanctified Power. Now, in terms of other things that you can do if you want to, like I just swapped out in the gameplay, you guys can see I swapped over to a speed build. So what do we do with the speed build that's kind of different here? Well, you can run the Convention of Elements if you want to. You can run an Elusive Ring. You can run the Obsidian Ring of the Zodiac for extra cooldown reduction. That just lets you activate Smokescreen faster, because with Displacement, you get 100% bonus move speed. That is so good if you want to clean up content very fast. Maybe you're tired of running the Unhallowed Essence, or you just want to play this. Hey, go run Displacement with that movement speed if you want to do speed T16s or GR like 100s. You want to get those speed runs done. This is really great for that. And if you are running the speed run build, you're going to basically one-shot most things anyways. So I definitely recommend in group play, run the Nemesis Bracers. And if you do run the speed build, definitely run Blood Vengeance. That lets you go ahead and have basically infinite hatred. You just have to collect the globes, or you can run like Reaper's Wraps inside of the cube, because Mental Channeling, you don't really need the damage reduction or the damage, as long as you are able to one-shot everything, which this build does really easy. I mean, like, you get, what's the number now? 75,000% weapon damage, and then you get another like 25,000 to the subsequent enemies. Like, you do so much damage with this build, it just mows down content. So again, feel free to swap things in and out. Running Hot Pursuit, you don't need the extra damage before with like Call of the Week, and then also the Thrill of the Hunt. You need to be slowing things down. You're going to be one-shotting them before they have a chance. Hot Pursuit, just more speed. If you want to, of course, you can run Avarice Band, Boon of the Hoarder, but most people don't like to level up the gem, and I don't blame you. So this is going to be like our little speed build as well, without really messing up the build too much. Like, if you want to, you can like swap this up for like obviously cold damage as well, but you could basically just literally swap the rune and you'll probably one-shot everything anyway. So don't worry too much. If you're playing like the push build and you're like, I want to go do speeds, don't worry about getting the cold damage. You'll probably one-shot everything at T16 anyway. So that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the build, and we'll be dropping more build guides, and I'll give you guys the build for the Cluster Arrow. That one's a way harder build to play. This one's probably gonna be the go-to for most people in terms of like the best build if you want to push and go on the leaderboards. But anyways, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like on it. If you want to see more of my content in the future with Diablo, more action RPGs, and just more games in general, and this is your first time here, subscribe to the bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.